Hi, everybody, and welcome to OverReaction Monday. I am Zach. That is George. I'm mixing it up because one of these days I'm gonna take over. You're just gonna give me the reins.
Dude, you have it. It's yours. It's all yours. It's your world. I'm just living in it, bud. Feeling pretty cocky, I gotta say. If you're joining us, this is the first time that you've been on the Overreaction Monday show on Twitch. Zach knows that we haven't had always a great celebrate. Most of our overreaction has been negative stuff, but today we're kind of cocky, so just be aware of it, right, Zach?
Yeah, we're riding pretty high because hey, it's the same old, same old. I brought out the classic pullover here because it's the same as we did spring of last year.
Yeah. Look at you. So anyway, welcome to the show. We got lots to talk about. Yes, we're going to go over the quarterfinal games. We're going to talk about semis. We're going to talk about Detroit. We are also going to talk about politics. We posted a tweet earlier. We're going to delve into that a little bit at the end, and we got that for you. But thank you so much. And again, if you're just joining us, if you're just coming online here, you can leave a comment. We love getting comments and talking about it. So yeah, so let us know.
We do pay attention to you, chat. We love you.
We do. All right. Your an opening statement, sir, from you about this past weekend is?
It was guaranteed, of course.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Okay, guaranteed. Yeah.
Yeah. We can go into it later, but there is one specific point. I'm going to tease this ahead. You taught me all those years ago. Tease ahead,
That's right. You gotta tease, baby. You got to tease. Yeah.
But there is one specific point that I'm going to talk about that broke the whole series wide open. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, it's done. It doesn't matter what the series score is. We've got this. There's no way. There's no way TSM gets it.
Oh, good. I'm interested to see and hear what your kind of turning point thing was. My opening statement is, suck it, Piglet fans. Suck it now.
Wow.
We went through so much shit on Clutch Gaming's subreddit from Piglet fans that were, I was going back, Zach, and looking at some of the comments. And it's nasty stuff in our Twitter DMs and everything like that. They were coming after us. They were coming after Clutch, and they were like, Piglet this, Piglet that. You'll never do anything. So Piglet fans, not Piglet. Understand the difference here. Not Piglet, fine player, wish him well, all that kind of stuff. But Piglet fans, I'm looking right at you. Suck it. That's all I got to say. We're on to the semifinals. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
No, don't leave. You look like you're about to get up there. That's wow. Yeah. You can't leave me hanging if you're gonna make that kind of statement and walk off. That's not cool.
Come on, tell me that you're not thinking the same thing. Piglet thing got nasty when
there was a lot of backlash. Yeah. And a lot of people doubted Cody's son. I was not one of them, honestly. So I kind of I thought some change was necessary. I didn't know if Piglet was that change, but turns out it really was. Along with the coaching staff, as soon as Think Card came along, and we moved Artemis up from Academy, you could really tell a difference. And again, nothing against Piglet, nothing against McScraggs. We love those guys. But
absolutely. And by the way, I loved it. We'll get to McScraggs in a second. He had a tweet today that just cracked me up. It's so McScraggs. And we'll get to that. But the Piglet fans, I thought, went overboard with this. And look, we don't know what Piglet would have done if they'd had the different coaches there, that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you, think about this, Zach. Last year, this time, Cody's son got added to the Academy team.
Yeah, this is when he got moved out of the LCS roster for 100 Thieves.
Right, and he wound up on the Academy team for Clutch, and we were both like, what the heck is going on here? And so in what, less than a year, a little over a year maybe, he goes from Academy team to dominating.
Absolutely.
He dominated the last 2 weeks in the LCS. Tell me how that came about. You're the analyst guy, so Zach, tell me what you see different in Cody's son that makes him so good. And let me just throw in one more time. Piglet fans, suck it.
you need to calm down. Just
No.
Okay, all right.
Talk to Cody-san.
All right. Honestly, it's kind of a perfect storm of things. We had everybody else that was slowly improving, slowly getting a little bit better bit by bit. But then, honestly, we got our drafts figured out. We weren't putting Cody on Zed. And if we were lane swapping, we were doing it smartly, like we did in game 1 of our series against TSM. Like, we're doing things smart. We're not just doing things. And that's honestly the biggest difference, is that once we got to this more controlled and structured game plan, even if it's very aggressive, that allowed Cody to really flourish and really shine. And he had, 2 deaths the whole series? He got up to a 70 KDA before he died the first time?
No.
It's insane. Absolutely insane.
All right, hang on. Sorry, I'm typing as you do that. No, I just, again, I thought he absolutely dominated things, and I just, like you say, other things were coming along, and that's good. I agree with you, but I mean, you gotta say that Cody-san's performance. What is it? 2 weeks or 3 weeks now that he's just been outstanding.
Honestly, it's been 3 weeks, and we were still seeing a lot of that beforehand, and I gotta say, Jubble Scum, right there with me, the biggest changes have been with the staff changes. I really think that the new staff kind of pulled Cody out of the weeds of everybody else with conflicting ideas, and whether or not that's Cody's idea or not, it's his identity. It's his hard carry identity that he's really been able to flourish on.
Yeah. So let's see. You were talking about staff changes. Hooney finally seems to have some confidence in his play. Lyra. Oh, my God.
Seriously.
Lyra looked like a different play. How many shows, how many League Leader podcasts did we start with? What the hell is going on with Lyra?
Yeah, and now we're hearing from the LCS casters that he's becoming a much bigger leader on the team. That's when he was in his heyday. When he was leading the team on Envy, that's when Envy was doing their best. And that's with players that were half as good as the roster we have now. Honestly.
And we haven't even gotten to Hooney yet, but Hooney. DeMonte, I mean, Volk, we'll spend some time, but talk to me a little bit about Hooney.
Hooney has honestly, he's stopped dying. Just stopped dying. That's all it takes. And there's still a few things here and there where he's a little bit out of position or goes down a bit early, but he just stopped dying. When you're looking at the game 4 and there's Lyra with a couple deaths and Vulcan's been taking one for the team, but Hooney's there with DeMonte and Cody-san, no deaths. It looks great, and it's working.
Boy, is it working. So DeMonte, we'll get to his play in just a second, Zach. But on OverReaction Monday, he said something that a lot of people was like, "Woo, that's a little bit of an overreaction." But you and I both read it and was like, "That's what's been missing." His comments about Dignitas after the win. What did he say?
He said he was talking with Travis Gafford. Great stuff, Travis, by the way. He's
good.
a really great interviewer, covers LCS all the time. He got back just in time to interview DeMonte after the big win. And he was asking what the big changes are like. What's the difference? And DeMonte went on to say that seeing the Dignitas CEO, Mike Prindiville, who's just a hype guy in general, but seeing him in the stands, DeMonte said, I want to win for him. And that's something that I don't think I've ever heard from another player is I want to win for this specific person. I want to make this person proud, kind of in a way. And honestly, you can see it.
Though? Isn't that what you want in a leader? I mean,
absolutely.
And we saw a little bit of his hype talk before last weekend's games and stuff like that. And we both were texting each other just like, holy cow, this dude is something. So,
and you can see it in a lot of their replays at the end of the game where it's on the crowd and you're watching as the Nexus is about to explode. You can hear it in the background. He's the first person out of his chair. He's leaping for joy for these guys.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. DeMonte played well. Vulcan played well. Anything you want to say before we get to that play that stood out for you this past weekend?
No, I got to say that all my concerns, my uncertainties were unwarranted, honestly. I we'll get to Team Liquid later because that's a whole different beast than TSM.
Right.
But honestly, our game was just straight up better than TSM's. No contest.
What point was that moment that you talk about that you really had that moment in a game? When was it and what was it?
All right, so turn back the clock. Game 2. We've got a really pretty decent sized lead for TSM. It's not the biggest, It's not the greatest, but there is a lead for TSM. Damonte's on Kiana. He's just trying to clear wave against Bjergsen in the top lane. And Spica and I believe Smoothie are coming around from the river to try and kill Damonte. At that moment, Damonte says, hey, we can get these guys. And so without hesitation, Vulcan and Cody Sun use the Tom Kinch ultimate to jump into the river right underneath the Braum. Now, mind you, the Braum immediately ultimates. Really good stuff from Smoothie. But Cody Sun spell shields it on reaction. They had no vision that Braum was there. They didn't know he was there. But as soon as they see him on reflex, bam, Cody Sun blocks it. Then you get Huni teleporting in. You get 2 other members of TSM teleporting in. It's this huge 5-on-5 about to happen. Now, Vulcan has balls of steel for this play. He stands in front of all 5 members of TSM as Tom Kench, waiting for Huni's teleport to finish. As soon as Huni is there, right before he gets bursted by everything in existence, Vulcan grabs him, makes him untargetable, spits him out behind him, and then Lyra joins the fight as well for everything to continue. Lyra starts this off, steals the Braum ultimate because he's on Silas, uses that to slow down TSM. Huni uses the equalizer on the same path, so TSM has no chance of getting away. And then Damonte flash ultimates on Kiana, slamming all of TSM into this wall, making them stuck on top of the equalizer. And then Cody Sun's just got a ricochet. It's the most beautiful play I have seen in years. That kind of coordination does not come every day.
A little historical significance in that play as well, right?
Yes, this was a point where I was like, oh my god, this is Misfits versus SK Telecom from 2017. Now, everybody knows that Misfits were big underdogs there against SK Telecom. They were up 2-1 in games at that point. It's game 4. They're sieging the inhibitor against SK Telecom. They make one step too far, and SKT comes down on them like a hammer. Like, not just wipes the board with them. And it wasn't just the game that broke after that. It was the whole series. It broke Misfits' spirit of, oh my god, we were that close. We were that close to doing it, and we didn't do it. They're too good. We can't beat them.
It felt like that on Saturday, didn't it? After that play, it kind of felt. Really and I know they came back in game 3 and won, but it felt like their spirit was broken, and it was a big moment. I really thought they might 3-0. You called it correctly, though. You said 3-1 on the podcast on Thursday, and you were right on it. So
hey, I get one every now and then.
So let's talk about, now that we've reveled in all that was Saturday, let's talk a little bit about what's coming up this weekend, the challenge that's there. By the way, going to Detroit, if you're watching tonight or watching the rerun or whatever, Zach for sure is going to be in Detroit. I'm trying to figure out if I can get there from Houston, but for sure Zach is going to be in Detroit for the finals and the 4th place game. But
and I hear there's also going to be a really great tailgate going on, courtesy of Dignitas. We'll have more details on that later, but right now, just be on the lookout.
We're making some plans, making some moves here, but be there. Honestly, drop us a message. You see the Twitter feed right up in the top corner. I don't know how to point this way, but it's top. There we go. It's up in the top corner. Message. Let us know that you're going to be there. We'd love to meet and have some fun with you while we're in Detroit. But let's talk about this weekend. Mick Scraggs, former coach of Clutch Gaming, came out, threw down the gauntlet, said basically, you made a mistake, Team Liquid, choosing Clutch.
I agree. I think that they are the most dangerous team in the LCS. I totally agree with Prindiville's assessment. I really... Clutch can throw some curveballs. They know what they're about. They're really aggressive. And with that level of team fight coordination that we saw,
Right.
I don't know exactly how you attack this team. Obviously, you can't give over Aatrox. I know Sven was the one with the pentakill, but that whole thing was set up by Aatrox and just a little bitty mistake every now and then in Game 3. So I'm going to write that off for now. But honestly, TL has a much easier time against CLG, even though CLG are the ones that closed out 3-0. CLG are a team you can plan against. I don't know if you can have the same kind of playing against Clutch.
Well, I think the thing with Clutch right is a little bit of that, holy crap, wait, doing? How are they playing? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that the top tier teams really were taking them serious earlier in the season and have a whole lot to go on, because I'm telling you, the Clutch that's playing right now, Zach, is a totally different team than the Clutch that was playing a month and a half ago.
Absolutely. And here's the other thing. Clutch does have that 1-8 record in the regular season versus versus the other playoff teams. However, a lot of that was a lot earlier. The only team they lost to recently was CLG, and that's 3 whole weeks ago. We've made a lot of progress since then.
Well, yeah. I mean, all you got to do is look at the way they finished the season to know that. All right, we'll get into the what did we call it last week? Opportunities, concerns, and
uncertainties.
Uncertainties and concerns. That's right. We'll get into that on Thursday's podcast, which, by the way, can I say thank you very much. You all made the interview with Heather from Dignitas one of our most listened to episodes of the season. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you haven't listened to it, shame on you. She was outstanding, but it was definitely one of our biggest episodes of the season. So thank you for that. We love all the feedback. And if you're online, we love people dropping comments to us. So just go ahead and drop a comment. If you have a question, what was it that you felt like was the turning point for Clutch this weekend? Was there something that stood out to you? We'd love to know. But we'll get more down Zach's kind of game action. He's just started really kind of doing the analysis, and we'll have that on Thursday night, 7 o'clock. The League Leaders audio podcast will drop. And if you're not following us on Twitter or on SoundCloud, where we have it right now, then please do so, because that'll be a good episode.
It's going to be really good. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Why do we keep getting, why do we keep getting feels good man?
Yeah.
Feels good man. Feels good man.
Because it feels good. We're winning. It feels good, man. He's new to Twitch, guys. I'm really sorry. This is embarrassing. This is like old man learns internet kind of thing.
Get off my lawn. I'm trying. I'm here. I'm trying, right?
I know. That is the most old man learns the internet thing you've done in like a year and a half.
I didn't know if there was something other than feels good, man, behind that. So anyway,
no.
All right. All right.
Next topic. Focus. You got this.
A couple of things here. Number one, we, like you said, Zach, when you posted this earlier today, we don't usually get into politics. I mean, esports. We don't usually get into politics with stuff. But there was something that came out earlier today that we felt like we needed to talk about, and that is that the legislators are looking at a fairness kind of thing when the High Skilled Immigrants Act. This is getting way deep into politics here. Yeah. But this is something, Zach, that you felt like could really seriously affect esports, and esports maybe not on the radar of these legislators like me, old guys who don't know the cool speak on Twitch TV. So what did you want to say? What would you say to people that are watching about your concerns about this?
Honestly, it's well known that we need some kind of immigration reform. That's not the topic here. The thing that's being brought up is a reform to a specific kind of immigration that directly affects imported players, players that are trying to get their green card, like Huhi of the Golden Guardians was recently able to get. There's a lot of players that are actually looking to stay in America while they're playing and stay here long term. So it's going to become much more difficult for them to get visas as well as green cards, because essentially, instead of having the whole world, each country gets their same set amount of visas and green cards, you're going to look at volume. And we have a lot more volume coming from China and India. In fact, there's quite a bit of backlog on that. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they deal with this. If this actually passes, we're going to be seeing a lot more of those limited number of green cards and visas go specifically to China and India, and that could really seriously hurt the import scene for the North American LCS or for any North American esports league.
Right, got it. Yeah, not just the League of Legends, but anything. And I want to throw in one thing now that you kind of opened the subject of politics. Look, ridiculous statement, I thought, about politicians that were blaming esports and video games for some of the terrible, horrible things that happened. Our neighbors in El Paso, still thinking about them, and the shooting there, the shooting in Dayton, Ohio, and several that have happened. And there were politicians, including our president, who tweeted out that video games were part of the problem. Now, here's where I will tick some of you off, and I don't care. You are being disingenuous, and you are fooling yourself if you don't think that with some part of the gaming population, there's not an issue with game addiction and things like that. You're fooling yourself. So don't be that blind block that says, oh my God, it's so horrible, it's so terrible. I think this is an opportunity for esports to step up and say, you know what? Here are things that we saw, and here's what we're doing to fight some of that. Because I'm telling you, if you just go, oh, the president and all the politicians, they're absolutely insane. There are a lot of moms, there are a lot of dads, myself included, who look at some of these kids and some of these adults that got addicted to Fortnite and things like that. There are issues within video games and esports. And I think for us to be upfront, honest, and address them is the way to go as an industry. So that's my cents worth.
I agree. I do have to correct you. There is no relation. There is scientifically no relation between video games and violence. Video game addiction is something that's very different, and that's what you're trying to address. I understand, but there is no reasonable connection.
I understand. But when you say that, all I hear is that shuts it down. I don't want to have a conversation. That's the wrong way to approach it. It may not be a direct scientific link to violence, but if we have the opportunity to prove that in a different way than, oh no, wait, no, there's no correlation. That's a shutdown of the conversation, and that's wrong.
I agree. Shutting down the whole conversation is wrong, but directly saying what the politicians have been saying is equally wrong. That's what I'm trying to say, because there is a conversation to be had here. Mental health overall needs to be addressed, especially with stuff like this. There's a lot of people that turn to gaming and will stay there and will not get the help that they need. I agree with you on that point, but we do have to stop blaming video games for violence. That is a systemic problem.
Hang on. Once you go down that road to addiction, once you go down that rabbit hole, or whatever you want to call it, to being that isolated, that's when the opportunity exists for other things to influence you. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, is that we've got to be, and I say we as esports and video games, we've got to be the bigger person. We've got to open the dialogue and not completely shut it down and say, you're wrong. There's no scientific data. Because that's a conversation ender, and I think we have to be better than that. I saw a great quote. I saved it because it came from a podcast that I love, Lewis Howes, who is the School of Greatness. And one of the statements he made is, loneliness is the absence of connection, not the absence of people. And I think what you were just talking about, Zach, when you have somebody with mental health issues or whatever that start down that road and they start blocking themselves off, and that's the only connection they have out there, to me, that's when the trouble starts, and that's where the opportunity exists for something worse to happen. And I'm not saying it's directly related to video games, but I'm saying we've got to lead that conversation and not just react to these stupid statements that politicians are making.
Admittedly, it is politicians that it's very hard to not just immediately react to them, especially when they're being that stupid. So
and
I get what you're saying.
Some politicians are a lot harder not to react that way to than others. Let me just say that.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Listen, there are a lot of things. As a matter of fact, one of the things, and this gets into a whole different thing, but one of the things that I've really been examining and looking into here in Houston with the radio show, what can I do? How can I get involved in with organizations or with groups that help identify and help folks that are suffering from mental issues? Mm-hmm. There's no question that mental health is a problem in this country. And what can I do? How can I use my voice? If you know somebody, if you're watching this and you know an organization that you think would be great to examine, please let me know, because that's something that I feel led to do, and that is to lend a voice to that mental health side of things. So just wanted to throw that. All right. All right, back to fun. Let's have fun stuff. Let's see.
You got real deep on me there, man. I was not sure where that was going. I love and hate when you surprise me like this. I really do.
Can I go back to this? Piglet fans can suck it. You're the problem. No, I'm just kidding.
You're the worst. You are 100 or you are 0. I hate it.
Well, you know what? You've lived with me for more years than most people, so you know what you're dealing with here. Sorry, the rest of you are new to this, but this is what Zach's had to deal with his whole life.
This is what I grew up with. Have pity on me.
National Alliance of Mental National Alliance of Mental Illness. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do, and it's something I'm going to look into. But that's a challenge I'll throw out to anybody who's watching this. What can you do to further the conversation? And again, I know we got deep on the end, but hey, listen, esports is life and we love it, but there's so much outside of esports, and that balance is so important.
Absolutely.
And that's what I encourage. So.
Yep.
All right, Zach, I have nothing else. I'm all out of insults for Piglet fans.
You drop all these, deep knowledge feels bombs. And you're just like, all right, I'm done. Bye. I'm out.
No, I'm just saying. I could go back and read you some of the comment. No,
can we take a moment to have some feels for our dear friends at 100 Talk? I gotta make sure this gets on. They sent us a mug. It's really hard with my lighting. Maybe if I shield a little bit, maybe kind of.
100 Talk. Yeah. I love that.
Talk.
I love it.
And then on the other side is their mascot, Steve the Thief, the little raccoon.
Yep.
I love this mug, and I love those guys. I'm still very sorry that they did not make playoffs. Because man, CLG took it to Optic from game 1. Optic just could not get a handle on anything, and I gotta say, I feel like the Thieves would have done a little better, but.
You know what? And I saw them post earlier. It's like, man, does it feel worse now? we lost the tiebreakers and could have did a little better. So, first of all, guys, thank you so much. I haven't gotten my mug yet here in Houston. I guess it's on the horseback to be delivered here in Texas, or
probably.
But
Texas
thank you so much
is
for that.
Different.
By the way, the Nick from TSM, the TSM Talk.
Oh yeah, suck it. We got you. You're going down.
It.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, man, but that's how it goes. There's always a winner and a loser. But we really appreciate you.
No, if you're going to be in Detroit again, we're going to be there. Zachary for sure. And like I said, I'm still trying to work it out. We have Houston Texans preseason games and stuff like that going on like a Thursday. Anyway, I'm not sure I'll be there, but Zachary will be there representing League Leaders Podcast, and we're looking forward to that. So thank you guys. If you're going to be in Detroit, please drop us a message here, or like I said, let us know. It's League_Leaders1 on Twitter. You can DM us. We'd love to meet up, buy a cocktail for you.
No, don't promise that. I'm not buying people cocktails. You got to be there if you're making that promise.
Hey, wait, I want to know, Jordan and Cole, don't you think Jordan and Cole seem like White Claw guys? Do you know what White Claw is?
No, what the heck?
It's a hard seltzer thing. It's like all the rage with 20-something girls. And said something tells me that Jordan and Cole would be big White Claw fans. Anybody else? Anybody watching this know what White Claw is? Or am I'm talking Greek to Zach right now.
Yeah, a little bit, and that's saying a lot because I actually, I learned Greek, so yeah.
Actually, you very well. So yeah, that's not a good comparison. But
if you want to say Norwegian, sure, that works.
Detroit, and you're watching, the first White Claw is on Zach.
No,
so yeah,
no. No, if the first White Claw is on me, then you got to get yourself a mouse, sir. Because you were saying, man, I feel so sorry for those 100 Talk guys. I guess maybe I should learn how to play League and go on Rec League with them. And no. You got to get a mouse first. I played with you on the trackpad. We're not doing that again.
I have a mouse.
Since when?
This right here. Look at this.
He got this today. He got this today just to troll me. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I've never seen that mouse before in my life.
I've been waiting for you to bring that up. So anyway,
gosh.
all right.
I've been had.
Next week, we got to call it White Claw Monday.
No.
How about that? Can we call it White Claw Monday?
No.
You got to try White Claw before next week.
No.
Yes.
What the hell? Where did this come from?
I'm just saying. And again, I think Jordan and Cole, they strike me as White Claw kind of guys. Me, bourbon.
I said on Twitter, I knew he'd been drinking before this. This explains everything.
I've not been drinking. That is the first sip I've taken all night.
You saw how big that was. Chat knows. Yeah. Chat's with me here. Jebel Scum in the chat. Thank you, by the way. I'm not going to ever insult you for being a non-rude Piglet fan. Thank you. Thank you very much for being kind amongst the transition.
Yeah. Yeah, you were on. Let me just say this: you were in the minority if you were non-rude. Okay,
probably true. Yeah,
Zach, that wraps it up for me. Anything before we get off Overreaction Monday?
That's got it for us. Tune in this Thursday. We're going to be having some good discussion on what we see going forward for the semifinals here. We're also going to be covering the other semifinal, even though whatever. It's a blue team. Whoever wins. It's going to be blue on one side of the stage. So.
We'll let you know, but we're excited about this weekend. Again, audio podcast drops on Thursday. We'll have more technical kind of breakdown stuff that Jack does for each game and his prediction on Thursday. Plus, we're hoping to throw in a little Overwatch conversation too with a good friend of ours who covers the Overwatch League. So we'll let you know about that. But Thursday night, look for the new episodes. I still love CG. Thank you, Clutch Gaming.
Don't we
all? Don't we all? Zach, thank you. You're going to save this, people. If you know, by the way, a rude Piglet fan, please send him my comment. Send this video to them, okay, please.
If this goes viral because you're telling people to suck it, this is going to be either the best marketing ploy in history or the worst marketing ploy in history.
Suck it. That's all I got to say.
Oh, goodness. Well, everybody, have a great night. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to tune in on Thursday for our audio podcast. Till then.